weekend worked on. On Friday, you guys all met up in Zoom rooms and you pitched problems that you guys were passionate about. And then afterwards, you all mixed on Slack to be able to form teams. And then for the past about 40 hours, you guys have been working really, really hard all together to hack on the problems and solutions that you guys have been working on and to create a business model. You've also been getting feedback from mentors in the MIT Hacking Medicine team, and we've seen these ideas evolve as the weekend has gone on. You've also iterated based off of that feedback to be able to improve upon who you're delivering your product to and what your problem actually is. And finally, we're at this last stage, presenting. And this is where you guys are able to show off exactly what you guys have worked on for the past 40 hours. So as a reminder, this is our judging criteria. We have 4 main things that you guys will be judged on. The first is impact. So is it a real problem? Does it have potential for widespread impact? Does the solution address the identified problem? There's also innovation. So make sure that you have a convincing rationale for why the solution is going to work, addressing challenges specific to the stakeholders that you've identified, and that you've considered the user experience, interface, and service design. You want to have a business model, which I'm sure all of you have included, which demonstrates a plan for your product to work in the field and that it's sustainable. And finally, the presentation should be effective, and you should demonstrate that your team has a diversity of backgrounds and the technical expertise to make sure that your idea becomes a reality. Here's a recap of the prizes that we are offering over the weekend. So for track A, customized cancer care, there's going to be 3 main prizes: first place, second place, and third place for $1,500, $1,000, and $500 each. There's also the Intersystems Healthcare Technology Challenge that applies to all teams across all tracks. The winner wins $1,000 and the runner-up wins $400. And then otherwise for this track, there's the Brigham Health Popey Health Prize for Best Innovative Hack to Improve Lives of People with Opioid Use Disorder. And so that's $1,000, and we'll be identifying teams across all tracks that have met the qualifications for that prize. Once again, we'd like to thank all of our partners and sponsors of the Grand Hack 2020, particularly Sanofi Genzyme, who has sponsored this track. We really appreciate all of your help in conceptualizing the challenges behind this track and ensuring that all participants were able to be included in all of the events over this weekend. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce our judges. So for the judges, once I call your name, if you can just unmute yourself and introduce yourself really briefly for all the participants. So our first judge is Sarab OSB. He's a portfolio director at Pfizer.
You want me to introduce myself, Tanya? Sorry.
Yeah.
Hi. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Looking forward to the presentations. As Tanya said, I work for Pfizer, which is one of the largest pharmaceutical companies. Looking forward to hearing all the great solutions that you guys have put together in a very short period of time. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarab. Our next judge is TK. Could you introduce yourself really quickly?
Yes, hey everyone, looking forward to the pitches. I'm based in Atlanta and I work at Xtrol. We're a medical device company focused on imaging and X-ray equipment, very much in the cancer space. Yeah, looking forward to these presentations. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. Our next judge is Kushal Gauri.
Hi, this is Kushal. I lead corporate strategy and innovation at Parixel, which is a clinical trial research firm and a recent executive MBA grad from MIT Sloan, class of 2020. So looking forward to the presentations.
Thank you, Kushal. Our next judge is Kathleen Aller.
Hi, I'm Kathleen. I work with Intersystems. About 1 billion health records around the world are managed in Intersystems technology. And I'm passionate about the reuse of information for bettering care.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathleen. And last but not least, our final judge is Chris Sarkey.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm with Sanofi Genzyme Oncology. I'm the head of oncology here in the US. I've been in the pharma business for about 28 years, 26 of those in oncology, and really appreciate the time and commitment everybody's put into this weekend and looking forward to the presentation. So thanks very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much to all judges. We really hope you and things that the team put together for you this weekend. So for logistics and just a preview for the teams, as a reminder, we have 3-minute pitches with 2 minutes of Q&A. For the teams that we announce, we have basically ordered you in a randomized order, and we'll call you up as your slides show up. We'll also make sure that we announce who is next on deck so that you guys are ready. When we do call your team up, please have the person who is presenting raise their hand so that we can unmute them for the duration of the pitch. When you guys, because I will be the one who is controlling the slides, when you guys want me to further and go to the next slide, please press the go faster button or just say next, and I'll make sure to go to the next slide or the next transition within your slide deck. Also make sure that you unpress the go faster button once you are done with that so that we know not to proceed any further, and this will basically function as your clicker. At the end of 3 minutes, we're going to be muting whoever is presenting at that time, and you guys cannot present any further. And then we'll immediately start our 2 minutes of Q&A with the judges, and they will be asking you questions about your presentation. Are there any questions that are in the chat?
Yes. We asked about, because we have 3 speakers, we asked about if you would be able to unmute all 3.
Yes, so just have all 3 of you who are planning on speaking raise your hand, and then we'll unmute you. And then also for the rest of the session, all participants just refrain from accidentally unmuting yourself while another presentation is going on. We're only going to be allowing the presenters at that time to speak. All right, so let's get started. Our first presentation is going to come from Project 42 or Team A042. If you guys could raise your hand for whoever is presenting, and I'll make sure to unmute you.
And for the teams presenting, I'll hold up my iPad with the timer at around 30 seconds to give you a warning to wrap up.
I'll also make sure to spotlight you so that you can be seen by everyone else. All right, and your time starts whenever you begin.
Hello, everybody. We're Project 42, and we're presenting Pronova. Pronova is a decision support tool for community oncology practices to select the most cutting-edge level of care. Next slide, please. Most of the technologies presented here today will be applied in cutting-edge research centers, limited to very few places and people who have the resources to act upon it in a specialized setting. We are looking to serve the 55% of cancer patients in the US who are treated in the generalized community clinics. Treating a wide diversity of cancer types requires the clinician to dig through hundreds of pages of guidelines and literature, which can place a strain on the quality of patient care provided to these patients. Next slide. The Pronova solution to these problems includes an integrated web platform that would have the ability to interface with commonly used EHR and EMR programs. It would include most recent guidelines, recommendations, and FDA-approved therapy lists based on patient clinical indications, with a primary focus on solid tumors. In parallel to this, patient data and treatment response data with clinical annotations can be collected and consolidated together in one place. Next slide, please. Here, we have a mock-up of the product the oncologist would use. It's simple and excludes the clutter of unnecessary information. It shows lab results, patient history, treatment solutions that can be readily applied based on the most recently approved therapies and guidelines. Next slide. It would also be smartphone accessible for the on-the-go oncologist who needs easy access to their patient data. Next slide, please. Pronova's business model has partially been proven by other companies in the space. Syapse, for example, created a product that has received $100 million in funding. Though its focus has been on genomic information and academic centers, Flatiron was acquired for $2 billion and focuses on community settings, but has a messy interface with no decision support system like ours has to offer. Next slide, please. We are proposing offering a subscription-based product for oncologists that would integrate with products they already use. Our business model includes grant applications and our seed capital, potential sources of which we have already identified. We'd be targeting the 3 out of 5 oncologists that practice in community settings with possible licensing through existing EHR systems. We would utilize the systems to track outcomes while collecting data from those patients as real-world evidence in the form of an in silico biobank. The development of an in silico biobank would be very valuable to our pharma partners. Next slide, please. While the subscription-based service is the base of our model, the in silico biobank allows us to then build upon our service to pursue further research goals, which includes clinical trial recruitment, offerings for insurers, data aggregation, and the ability to serve as a framework for decentralized clinical trials. For example, fewer than 5% of cancer patients participate in clinical trials, and these are generally from academic centers. Real-world data is trapped on any number of software systems across different providers and labs. Bringing the information about the other 95% to light could bring insights that can improve treatment decisions and point the way to new drugs and diagnostics. Next slide, please. Our team has been comprised of multidisciplinary experts from medical, business, and technology backgrounds. Thank you, and we'll be happy to take your questions.
Are there any questions from the judges? Great. Kushal, I think
Yes.
you're still muted.
Sorry. So I guess any thoughts around HL7 and interoperability and how your solution would interact with EHRs?
I want to pass that to Badami. I think she may have more better knowledge to answer your question.
Actually, it's going to be more of a question for Green and Adriana, but we've been looking into some of the interoperability. I mean, the question of just using a sort of environment of APIs. The point of this is really just going to have the software pull a series of different data from EHRs. The first version is going to have a website and with the eventual ability to sort of integrate into EHRs. So it's going to be a smoother operation for the physicians.
Yeah, so in terms of interoperability, we're thinking of using existing APIs like the one offered by Datica. So this will help us reduce build costs while also offering a secure way to integrate in our first iteration.
Thank you.
All right, Sarah?
Thanks, guys. So what is this replacing? I mean, there's no shortage of, I guess, interfaces that HCPs have to deal with, right? So are you giving them something new? And then, in terms of, I wasn't sort of sure about if this is sort of new effort, like what is being taken out of their plates already, because that's one thing, like, we want to minimize the kind of, data entry that HCPs have to do. Can you talk a bit about that? Like, how is this going to free up time so that they can really focus on patient care?
Sure. So what it's really trying to tackle is instead of having a physician who's seeing, a generalized oncologist as opposed to a specialized oncologist who work in a clinical setting in Dana-Farber or an MSK is going from his, let's say non-small cell lung cancer patient to a different kind of cancer, let's say gastric cancer. I'm just throwing something out there, but we're focusing on solid tumors. And the NCCN guidelines change very frequently. And the problem is if you go and read an NCCN guideline, they're 200 pages, and even just reading the updates is 4 pages.
The 2 minutes is up. Thank you for your response.
All right, thank you again to Team 042. So next up we have CarePath, Team A021, and coming up on deck will be WellMe. So if the representative from CarePath could raise their hand and I will unmute them. And whenever you guys are ready.
Hi, I'm Karen. So the coordination and scheduling of multidisciplinary care is one of the biggest pain points for our cancer patients. I'm a resident in radiation oncology. When I meet Sarah, when I meet Sarah, a young mom diagnosed with early stage breast cancer, she has already had multiple rescheduled visits due to non-optimal timing. Next. I have an Excel sheet of about 40 patients that I periodically review the EMR for to see where they stand in their cancer treatment. She has seen a surgical oncologist, but the Oncotype, a genetic test to help clinicians determine the need for chemotherapy, is not back yet. I, again, have to ask my staff to reschedule Sarah for the next available visit. Next. Unfortunately, appointment scheduling not only causes unnecessary stress on behalf of the patients, it also delays treatment, which may even cost lives. Next. CarePath is our unique solution for coordination of multidisciplinary care. Next. The EHR modular addendum would allow practitioners from different oncologic specialties to see exactly where Sarah is in her treatment journey and appropriately adjust scheduling and therapy as needed. There is really minimal data entry from the oncologic provider because all they have to do is press a Boolean to say that, yes, I want it linked onto the CarePath. Next. In Sarah's CarePath, her Oncotype has resulted. Next. She is ready. Next. She is ready to be scheduled for her medical oncology and radiation oncology appointments. Next. Our staff is notified and Sarah's appointment is scheduled at the appropriate time. Next. The CarePath modular addendum offers a competitive edge for any EHR vendor who acquires it and in turn profits off selling the updated system to healthcare facilities. Next. In the long term, our business model is self-sustaining by reducing wait times and unnecessary appointment and delays in the cancer care pathway. We increase productivity of providers, thereby also increasing profits for healthcare facilities, and we improve treatment outcomes for patients due to timely care. Next. There are similar products, but they either focus on post-treatment follow-up or are entirely patient-centric. Our solution is the only one trying to reduce delays from the source. Next. Our timeline extends from the end of this hackathon to the next few years. If all goes well, we hope to launch CarePath 2 years from now. Next. Our team is very diverse. We consist of 2 radiation oncologists, a medical physicist, a medical writer, and a high school student, as well as a business development strategist.
Thank you so much. All right, we will move on to the Q&A. I see Sarah, so
yes.
Hey.
Sarah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. Can you go back to that slide where you had the competitive landscape? There was one key differentiator compared to other competitors. Can you talk a bit about that? I didn't really catch that. Can you go back to that slide, please, Tanya?
Sure, I might ask one of my teammates who helped review that slide to pitch in.
So yeah, reducing delays from the source. Can you just elaborate how that does and what's the differentiation compared to Mosaic and other?
Yeah, is Judge Chin on the call or someone who reviewed the slide more? Also, I'm happy to talk about it. Okay, all right. So it looks like for these other companies, mostly they're all well, none of them are really oncologic oncology centered on oncology, and then also they're mostly patient portals. So ours is really a EHR addendum that's able to so for each visit that comes up one after the next, there's really a checkbox of lists of things that must be met before say the radiation oncology visit can be scheduled, or say the medical oncology can be scheduled. So if that could be automated such that the practitioner doesn't have to keep on going back to chart check and risk delaying treatment or delaying or rescheduling the patient. If that part could be automated, I think it would increase productivity and also just decrease the time or the workflow that we get so we can channel patients to these to their care.
Are there any other questions from any of the judges? Okay, Kushal.
Yeah, just a quick one. Did you guys consider the hospital capacity in your algorithms? But because that's kind of the rate limiter, right, in getting patients in.
Yeah, I guess our idea is that it would be applicable to any cancer center, because the cancer centers would have those three prongs of surg onc, and then also med onc and radiation oncology. So I think most cancer patients would get their care at a large cancer center now. So that's what our ideal
response. Sorry, I have to keep cutting everyone off. We just want to stay on schedule, so sorry about that, but thank you guys. Tanya, you're muted.
Sorry, that was team A021. And let me, make sure. So Whelmy, team A039 is next. And I will give the judges a little bit of time for them to be able to fill out the judging sheet.
Hello.
All right. Just a few more seconds and then I will switch over to your presentation.
Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Eduardo and our team is Whelmy, building the Smart Health Survey. Next slide, please. Since 1914, Ernst Gottman said that every hospital should follow every patient in order to improve the care. Next slide, please. One of the greatest challenges of healthcare in this decade has been how to effectively measure outcomes. Measuring them is key to unlock innovations in cancer care, such as precision medicine, value-based healthcare, machine learning, and helping patients to proactively engage in the decisions around their care, feeding them with the knowledge that's out there with other patients. Next slide. When we look at the ICHON outcomes standard set for breast cancer, we see that most of the important measurements are patient-reported outcomes. We already measured them in clinical trials, but how to translate that to clinical practice? It remains a great challenge. Next slide, please. So our solution is to build a design-centric app to collect patient-reported outcomes in a more efficient and granular way. Our first target users are patients undergoing chemotherapy, because this information really helps to manage the side effects and also helps other patients' decision around their care. So for every patient leaving the clinic or the hospital, we send follow-up SMS links to survey them with a user-friendly application. Next slide, please. We came up with strategies to engage patients and families. First, patients are able to search previous data to better understand the journey that was already been taken by other patients. And second, close family and friends are able to give little digital prizes in the end of each treatment milestone to encourage adherence to the hard journey. Next slide, please. Our highlights over the competitors are that patients can compare health status with the population, generating engagement. Our seamless integration with EHR via inter-systems APIs, and the automatically acquisition of outcomes from wearables like arrhythmia and fall detection that are very important during chemotherapy. Next slide, please. Our main customers are pharma industry and also insurance companies who will pay for the analytics of that very rich real-world data. And the users are the clinics and hospitals, and also the patients that we will use it for free. Our timeline is 1 month for the first user, a hospital, 3 months for starting the implementation of the basic features, and 1 year for the most complex features like wearables integration. Next slide, please. Our targeted market are 650,000 patients undergoing chemotherapy in the US, but then we can spend to all 15 million cancer patients in the US, and even more to all other diseases, summing up more than 900 million consultations or hospital stays per year. That said, we can reach a market of $100 million of analytics for this data. Thank you.
All right, Danny of the, okay, cool. Go ahead, Chris.
Hi, great presentation. A quick question. Have you thought about how you will incorporate the requirement of submitting or reporting adverse events should a patient experience that on chemotherapy through the system?
Back to the hospital in the EHR?
Right. So so when a patient experiences an adverse event, it needs to be reported and captured by the.
Oh yeah, sure. We talked about that with some oncologists, and they received this feedback sometime in their clinics, and they asked us for reporting that to kind of nurse reported nurse people who could be able to address that, because they don't have time and they are taking care of other patients. So we'll integrate that with the EHR, and we'll make sure that each clinic or hospital will be, the process and the flow will be integrated with that, so they can manage that.
Thank you. TK, did you have a question or?
Yeah, it was kind of answered there, but actually, just to dive into it a little bit more, when you're targeting clinics and hospitals, have you put some thought into how that workflow integration would look like? You mentioned EHRs, but if you have data that's beyond what the EHR can handle.
Yeah, sure. So we hope that everyone, the patient is scheduled for some consultation, our system can integrate with this system for the scheduling of patients. So when they are discharged, we are able to trigger a template that will be customized by the hospital. They can choose the template for each treatment plan and those kind of customizations. We hope to do that automatically through integrations.
Thank you.
All right. So as a reminder, that was WellMe, team A039, and then team A020 is Cancer One is up, and after them will be OncoTwin. And so I will once again give the judges a little bit of time to make sure that their scores are in, and then we'll proceed after that. All right, Cancer Plus One, take it away.
All right. So this is Cancer Plus One, and our so first we'll meet Ife. So next slide, please. Ife is a 21-year-old female who was just diagnosed with colorectal cancer, and she currently does not have any emotional or social support amongst her own peers or amongst people who are of the same age range as she is or of the same demographic as she is, who are going through the same type of cancer treatments and like recovery process. Next slide. And just to talk statistics, about 89,000 cases per year are new cancer cases amongst young adults. And our take on this is trying to take it from the psychosocial aspect of it. While there are plenty of other ways that treatments and other ways that certain apps and products can help in terms of treatment planning, this is in terms of the psychosocial support. And on top of that, there was about a 71% increase of psychological distress amongst young adults in a research done a few years ago. And to think that young adults who with cancer, why would they would probably have just as much of an increase in their psychological distress by going through such a difficult time. And here's our solution. So next slide.
Next slide. Thank you. So our app is Cancer Plus One, which is focused on building connections among young adult cancer patients. Our end users create profiles including their cancer type and stage, where they can reach out to other end users via text or video. Now, this is superior over current social media apps because it also provides daily affirmations that users can reflect on for improved mental health. Our end users can empathize over shared lived experiences of living with cancer as a young adult in their change or lost roles and routines. Next. Next slide, please. Thank you. This show is showing our affirmations. Next slide, please. So current cancer care apps such as Aya and Grit lack the psychosocial connections and positive affirmations the Cancer Plus One offers to enhance the mental health and well-being in one's cancer care journey. Next, we'll talk about our business and marketing plan. Next slide, please.
So our marketing plan is to target large nonprofit organizations and beauty or clothing companies that actively empower cancer patients. So every year we have 80K new young adults that are diagnosed with cancer. If 49% of them open our app for something as infrequently as up to 2 times per day, we can generate up to 141K revenue for the year. And that's just for one company that lets us partner with them. Next slide, please. And so this is just a map of what we were thinking in terms of going through our marketing plan and our business models. So for future directions, we were thinking of possibly expanding to other populations besides young adults, because our main focus is on the communal aspect, and potentially even to caregivers of patients with cancer, so that they can at least have a specific community that they can all look forward to. Next slide, please. And this is our team. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you guys. So Sarah, you go ahead.
Great presentation, guys. With respect to revenue, did you talk about subscription as well? So is that part of the revenue stream, or is it just advertising?
Yeah, so we were thinking, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so currently our plan was to initially start with just the ad-based, but then as we progressed, we're thinking to collect some in-app purchases for further developments based on what our end users would share with us that they, when we're checking what they're using and enjoyed about the app.
Okay. Have you taken into account the fact that these are young adults and most of them don't really actually will not have full-time jobs? So how do you intend for them to pay for something that they don't have any disposable incomes?
Yeah, so we were actually thinking about not having it be a subscription, because young adults, I feel like in this time of stage in their lives, they're going to have debt from school on top of everything. So and from cancer treatment. So we want our end users to have this application for free. As a result, we were going to reach out to these companies to help sponsor us and have and also help us generate our revenue, because we would be including their advertisements in our application.
Great, Chris?
Great, thanks. Thanks for the presentation, guys. One quick clarification on the differentiating slide you had among the companies you referenced advancing treatment. Can you just explain that a little more for me?
Sure. So our initial thoughts for our prototype was that we would have, you know, a place where users would have information about more specific aspects of their type of cancer and, you know, their staging of cancer. So it's something that we're thinking to reach out forward to as our app is developing further based on what end users are using. But we're also currently seeing that, you know, with our population, young adults, they are just going through so much in this life stage right now. You know, they're developing their own identities, their psychosocial health. And so with diagnosis of cancer, it's an entirely life change.
So it's something that we're looking towards the future to address.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much to Cancer Plus One. And so just as a clarification as well, apologies, Cancer Plus One is actually Team A009, and the next team coming up is Team A020, OncoTwin.
Sorry.
1 second, well, when I transition over to your slide. All right, we can go ahead. Your time will start whenever you start talking.
Meet OncoTwin, a digital tumor twin for glioblastoma patients. Next slide. Glioblastomas are terrifying. 15,320 people die each year from glioblastoma. They are the most prevalent type of adult brain tumor, accounting for 78% of malignant brain tumors. Glioblastoma multiforme is the most invasive type. These tumors tend to grow rapidly, spread to other tissues, have a poor prognosis, and have a high probability of recurrence. The average survival time for these patients is 6 months, so finding personalized therapies and treatments is very important. Well, who has to deal with all these problems? Oncologists do. Now in the age of personalized molecular medicine, oncologists have an abundance of exciting new information, but the amount is overwhelming that it's hard to recognize therapeutic dead ends, thereby potentially harming patients. Next. What if we can visualize all of this exciting new information into a single platform describing the evolution of a patient's glioblastoma? Well, OncoTwin, a data-driven 3D modeling platform, offers a way to aggregate radiological, genomic, and EHR data seamlessly to overcome therapeutic dead ends. It does this by simulating therapeutic options while advising oncologists on the best possible treatment. First, it builds on pre-existing knowledge of cancer to build a 3D model. It then fine-tunes the model by taking multiple images of a patient's CT brain scan, and then renders a final accurate 3D model of the patient's glioblastoma. Second, a gene regulatory network is used to forecast response to treatment. In a recent paper published in August 2020, it was validated that accurate representations of carcinogenic gene regulatory networks can be built. OncoTwin, a digital twin company, will innovate by running simulations that assess how different personalized treatments affect regulatory networks and tumor progression with the intent of changing them back to a normal state. Through a feedback mechanism, OncoTwin will allow cancer patients to benefit from millions of patients before them while still personalizing their own treatment. Next. Based on our market analysis, we could identify a unique market for OncoTwin. Its main competitors are companies like Inspiro and Memvis, who offer personalized 3D models of tumors without personalized medicine data aggregation. Next slide, please. With user and stakeholder feedback, OncoTwin will be validated at every step of the process. For our business model, a minimum viable product, or MVP, will be funded by seed investment. This MVP will then be validated by comparing OncoTwin's predictions against reference databases and animal model experimentation. Finally, OncoTwin will be validated through a clinical trial to show that glioblastoma patients treated after OncoTwin had higher survival rates than those without. Once OncoTwin receives FDA approval, the commercialization plan involves establishing digital twin centers of excellence. Phase 4 clinical trials will also be carried out to generalize its usage to other cancer types. Next slide, please. In summary, OncoTwin is a digital twin of a patient's tumor informed by data and expert knowledge that has the potential to significantly increase survival of glioblastoma patients by reducing the time necessary to create a course of action. And that's it. That's all I have.
Awesome, thank you. Are there any questions from the judges? Kushal, you can go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, so just a quick question. Did you guys look at the regulatory landscape on, kind of where is FDA on AI and ML usage in medical imaging?
Yeah, I can answer that. So the FDA is starting to look at software as a medical device. So last year they put out a proposal for regulation, a document to be reviewed that specified how software can, and ML, they did mention ML, can be used as a medical device. And mostly what they're trying to make sure is that the predictions that the models are making are explainable. And so our methodology does take that into consideration. We don't just make blind predictions, we actually make predictions that are explainable and can be followed through the original data.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the judges? You guys can go ahead and unmute yourselves. All right, so we will wrap it up. Thank you guys. Move to, so the next presentation is going to be from Doctree, and the presentation after that will be Breast Cancer Care Plan. Doctree is team 013.
Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, hi. Our product is Doctree, customized cancer care made simple. Next please. Dr. Julie is a cancer specialist and she will have to search through various databases to trace the best care that can be provided to a patient suffering from cancer. Most of the clinical data is produced in silo and not communicated with other healthcare professionals. If Dr. Julie could access all the data she needed on one platform, she could save time and increase positive outcomes in her patients. Next, please. A solution. Next, please. Yeah. Data from all the databases which already exist are centralized in Doctree, which provides a one-stop solution for healthcare professionals, pharma companies, and research groups, hence facilitating customized cancer care. Next, please. How do we collect data? From hospitals' gateway EHR system using FHIR server, we can directly extract data using the FHIR API into our database management system. We anonymize this data using feature engineering, analyze this data, and provide solutions to our clients and similar patient recommendations to Dr. Julie as a current patient. Next, please. Introducing you to the Doctree interface. Dr. Julie can log in through her institution ID. She can search for specific types of cancer that she's interested in. Next, please. Filters like age, comorbidities, and sex can help her narrow down her requirements and browse through anonymized case details. She can also access the records of her current patients. Next, please. For every patient of hers, Doctree gives recommendations of anonymized similar cases, and she can go through the treatment plan of these cases and draw from it. She also stays up to date with the latest research available at a click of a button. Doctree can be used to connect with other professionals and consult with them. Next, please. Doctree has a subscription-based model available to pharma companies, hospitals, and data-oriented research groups. Our value proposition is threefold. For investors, a revenue-sharing model. For doctors, it saves time and effort. And for researchers, it provides all data under one roof. Next, please. Here's the timeline. We are looking forward to expand this product to other illnesses, diseases as well, and integrate with patients so that they can upload their own health records. Next, please. When doing competitive analysis, our strongest points are diagnostic sync, physician community support, and availability of clinical research and data. Next, please. Thanks to Doctree, Dr. Julie is happy as she can provide the best care for her cancer patients. Next, please. This is a diverse team with backgrounds in biology, tech, and material sciences. Thank you. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you so much, Doctree. If any of the judges have questions. Go ahead, Sarah.
Thank you, Tanya. Great presentation. So if I understood this, I guess clearly, you are a doctor is getting a lot of treatment plans based on anonymous data, right? So I could totally foresee a situation where there's a lot of information that they have to look at. I'm not exactly sure how the doctor gets to select a treatment plan if you're talking about like hundreds of records, right? Is there anything you guys have thought about where you can, you know, if the algorithm can sort of look at the most relevant treatment plans, like how do you go from literally thousands of records to an actual recommendation that the doctor finds helpful?
Yeah, can you unmute Jumana, please? She'll be able to answer this question.
Okay, I'll answer this question. So as you said, there is a huge amount of patients data provided by many EHR databases, but there is no specific platform that works on collecting customized cancer care in one place and provide them in an organized manner. So we will provide customized cancer care related data so that the physician within the same population can utilize it in customizing their patients' treatment plans and diagnosis. And this is needed in order to improve customized cancer care. So we are the link between different institutions and EHRs by integrating their data that is related to customized cancer care while anonymizing the personal data that may make the patient more recognizable.
Awesome. Thank you. And TK?
Hi, have you put some thought into how you would incentivize groups to contribute anonymized data to the platform?
Okay, so I think mainly our targets are hospitals, health experts, and data demanding organizations. So I think the feature that we have is that there is no platform that can provide customized cancer care related data. So I think it's something that all research centers, pharmaceutical companies, and hospital looks for. So it's time saving, and it's so helpful in improving diagnosis, treatment, and even prognosis.
Right. Thank you. Thank you to the Doctory team. So the next team is Breast Cancer Care Plan. They are team A026, and I'll just give the judges a little bit of time. All right, so we'll proceed with Breast Cancer Care Plan. Go ahead when you guys are ready.
Hello, everyone. This is Dana. I'm glad to be presenting Breast Cancer Care Plan. So, I'm sure all of you here have someone, either a friend, a family member, a loved one, if not in this generation, then probably maybe in the generations before that had cancer related problems. Next. So the problem is that medical oncologists are more focused on the underlying pathology and treating the cancer, and referrals get lost in the system, and who get stuck, the cancer patients, right? Because these are who are undergoing immunotherapy and their immune system is kind of compromised. So they are a very high risk group, especially with COVID. Next, please. So what value do we bring? Or why are we even thinking about a survivorship care plan? Well, simply put, most patients don't even get one. So next slide, please. So our tool is a survivorship care plan. Next, please. And we also have, we're going to consider quality of survivorship care metrics in our plan. Next, please. And we're also going to consider opioid use because it's a kind of something that needs to be monitored. And as you can see from this article, it's kind of studied with the cancer survivors. Next slide, please. So our solution is a automated breast cancer survivorship plan that helps patients schedule and keep track of their specialist referrals and follow-ups. Next slide, please. So here you can just see a workflow of the system, and we're integrating with the IRIS platform for InterSystems with their database, and as well with Epic and Cerner. So actually Epic because it has the largest market size. Next slide, please. So this is a solution that we've built, and on the next slide, if the video works, then we can show that. Next slide. Okay, next slide, please. And this is our business model. So we're targeting, again, Epic because it's the largest market, and that's going to be a B2B business where we license. And then we're also going to consider patients because they're also a part of that. But we're obviously going to target them with a less amount just so we can engage that patient community. Next slide, please. And these are the competitors in this space. No one has reminded patients or has a automated system. So we hope to create a simple automated system in place. Next slide, please. And this is our current roadmap. So we have an ideation and prototype in place, and we hope to integrate with the EHR systems. Thanks.
If there are any of the judges that have questions. Go ahead, TK.
Would you be able to go back to that integration slide and maybe expand on that for 10 seconds or so?
Sorry. We know which slide.
Yeah, this is the one.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So here you have the, I can just give you an example just to put it in context. So you have an oncologist who begins to onboard a patient. That's usually a primary oncologist or a nurse practitioner. And basically they fill in a survivorship plan. And then after that, that plan, including, as you've seen in the demo, the date and what the next referral, whether it be, for bone health, cardiac checkups, cholesterol, these are kind of admitted in this form, and that form is kind of populated onto that calendar. And after which this calendar is kind of a triage between three people, the providers, the patients, and those referred healthcare providers.
Right, thanks.
Any other questions? All right, so we will move on to our getting ready for our next presentation, which is Cancer Warriors Team A038. And as a reminder, the previous team was A026.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you. We'll switch over in just a second.
Sure.
And also the team after this will be Village Care. All right, Cancer Warriors, take it away.
Good afternoon, judges and everyone present here. We are Cancer Warriors, and today our pitch is on medication management in cancer patients. Next. Our patient, Mr. Ram, is a 30-year-old male from India recently diagnosed with lung cancer and has 2 chemotherapeutic drugs added to his existing drugs for hypertension and chronic kidney disease. How do we ensure his safety? Next. The mortality rate for patients from drug toxicities range from 3 to 23% and long-term complications to almost 43%. In addition, drug interactions have 4% death rate in cancer patients. Next. Our solution is a patient-focused app called Canceriors with a doctor-patient interface where the doctor can check patient records and make changes to prescriptions accordingly. It can also be integrated with EHR. Next. The part of our product is a mobile app for patients and a web app for doctors. The patients would sign up with his demographics, enter his main diagnosis, any comorbidities if present. He will be redirected to a computer vision scanner that will scan the prescription and will add medications on his app, which in turn he can edit. He can see and select side effects he has with each drug, and if he develops new side effect. It also tells if the patient taking, suppose, 2 hepatotoxic drugs should substitute or reduce the dosage. He can also check drug interactions, and the app acts as a visual tracker for the medication. Next. On the front end, we will be using a hybrid for the mobile application and React for web app. On the back end, we will be using Flask with data sets stored on Amazon Web Services. We will be integrating the entire system using InterSystems API for database management. Next.
To draw a comparison of the existing competitors, we have NetMeds, Drug.com, and Medline Plus. However, these apps do not concern medication management. There is a unique app in the market space. Our differentiators are that it is personalized, accessible over offline mode, ensures patient-protected health information, and is free of cost. Next. Going over the business model, our primary stakeholders will be our exclusive tie-ups with hospitals. Our secondary stakeholders will be intermediate investors, and our tertiary stakeholders will be medtech grants and funds. The revenue stream, as mentioned, will be based on an app like transaction-based subscription fee from hospitals. Next. Here is a glimpse of our SWOT analysis after a well-researched POC. Next. We plan on bringing the app to fruition, and this is our timeline for the future. As we go along, we will incorporate a visual tracker to monitor the med intake and to include oral lung cancer, oral language access. Next. So this is our team, and we are from a professionally diverse background with experience from all domains in order to implement the business and take it forward. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you guys. Any questions from the judges? Go ahead, Kushal.
Just a quick question. After the prescription is scanned, who is deciding whether or not they will take the medicine? Was it the patient or the referring oncologist?
I will go ahead with this question. The prescription is given by the doctor, and the prescription paper will have a scanner QR code, which the patient can directly scan, and all the details of the prescription will be uploaded to his app, because often the patient might enter wrong, like there might be spelling mistakes in drugs, and that will lead to a different drug. So we have the scanner services.
But is the patient, I guess, deciding whether or not to take the therapy? Is that part of the plan?
No, usually we're following the normal of the oncologist deciding what therapy the patient will be taking, but we are making it a patient-focused app, so the patient is aware of what drugs he is on, and if he has any side effects, he can follow up. If there's any emergency side effects, we have a doctor-patient interface just to inform the doctors, like on a monthly basis, saying that maybe you should call back this patient for re-follow-up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we will move to get ready for the next team, which is Village Care, team A003. And after that will be OncoDoc, but actually before OncoDoc, just as a preview, we can take a really quick stretch break so that everyone can get up, stretch their limbs, and then we'll settle in for the last half of the presentations. So I'll just give the judges a little bit more time, and we'll start soon after. All right, so we will have next team, Village Care. You guys can go ahead and get started whenever you'd like.
Thank you. When Susan was diagnosed with breast cancer, her whole world changed. As a single mother, she found herself receiving direction from various care providers, taking new medicines with side effects, and feeling vulnerable and overwhelmed, asking, do they know what's going on with me? Am I alone in this, or getting the best care for my cancer? Next slide. Like Susan, 1 in 8 women will develop invasive breast cancer. Ideally, each care provider would pop in daily, ask relevant questions, monitor vitals, and make adjustments accordingly. Physically, this may not be possible, but with Village Care, we believe we can get pretty close. Next slide. Our breast cancer solution is an EMR integrated secure app with alerts from smartphone generated daily vitals that drives an algorithm to best support patients and the care team in customizing treatment plans and suggesting clinical trials. Next slide, please play the video. Susan's treatment has already been individualized according to her genetic profile. She has recently progressed to phase 2 of her protocol, changing her usual drug regime. Village Care recorded 3 days of elevated heart rate, heightened respiratory patterns, and a lowered mood score. Given Susan's socio-demographic information and increased pain score, our algorithm recognized that Susan qualified for recruitment to a new trial on non-medication pain therapies, prompting an alert pushed via API to the EMR for her care team to investigate and widen the scope of therapeutic options for Susan, mitigating her risk of opioid addiction, ensuring she's receiving the most up-to-date care in a proactive fashion. Susan flourished under her revised treatment, and her care team sends her a badge of encouragement to keep her positively engaged. Next slide. Our MVP will only take 12 weeks to build, as it leverages existing third-party technology and relationships we've fostered. We have great traction to date, including basic algorithms for alert ranges and UX design for the app. The next steps include EMR API to send alerts, finalizing the app, refining the algorithms, and linking clinical trials available per geographic region and cancer type. Next slide. We expect to reduce hospital days, distress of chemo side effects, incidence of fatigue, and pain, thereby mitigating addiction. Our target market includes providers and will expand to include payers as the estimated market size is $21 million. Our competition includes remote patient monitoring and chronic care management companies. However, our product is differentiated by AI-tailored, individualized treatment plans supported by daily patient data. Halo has recently developed a partnership to push vitals to Cerner, and we are planning a parallel pursuit with Epic through the Orchid. Next. Our solution connects patients with proactive care. The estimated annual net ROI per provider is over $43,000 received as a insurance reimbursement. Next. Our diverse team includes experienced medical doctors, AI machine learning experts, and business professionals from around the globe. Next. So now, what questions can we ask from you?
Thank you, guys. Are there any judge questions for Village Care? Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks, Steve. Great presentation. Can you talk a bit about clinical trials? Where exactly are you getting the data from and how you matching patients with those trials?
That is an excellent question, and I am going to pass that over to Justina. She is an MD and PhD student who's very passionate about this aspect of the project.
Thank you. So we'll be using data from already available websites such as clinicaltrials.gov. There's an API available, and we'll be presenting this data in a more patient-friendly way. So by using demographic data and location services, we'll be able to refine the search results. It would not only benefit the patients, but also the clinical trial teams.
Cool. Are there any other questions? All right, if not, we will take a really quick 2-minute break just so that everyone can get up, stretch, do what they need to, go to the bathroom if you need to, and then we'll all convene in just a few minutes to get started on OncoDoc. And after them will be Jen Ake. Sorry. Great, we can get started in a little bit. Could I just have our judges press yes or raise their hand if they're all here and ready to go? I want to make sure I don't miss any of you. All right. Awesome. Cool. So we can get started with OncoDoc. And Helen, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and start whenever you're ready.
Okay, perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Hi, everyone. Hope you were able to relax during our short break there. We are Team A12, and we're excited to share OncoDoc, a solution for coordinating care for patients with diverse medical teams. Next. 39.5% of the US population will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime, yet over 50% of cancer patients are not meeting regularly with a treatment team by month 12 of their diagnosis. This is primarily due to data anxiety and literacy concerns. Our team is passionate about building confidence in our cancer patients to be educated and involved from diagnosis through treatment. Meet our patient, Anna. She's a 66-year-old woman living in Boston who was recently diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer. She wants the absolute best physicians in the city to be on her case. But to do so, she needs to assemble a team of specialists from systems such as Dana-Farber, MassGen, Boston Medical Center, and Beth Israel. She cares about making sure her medical information is secure, but also values rapid communication simultaneously across her whole team, which is a current challenge across different EHR structures. How can our team enable patients like Anna to be engaged in these conversations with her team? Next. Introducing OncoDoc, a connected care application that conforms to HL7's FHIR standards to coordinate care between the specialists on Anna's team. After enrolling in our subscription-based service, she will grant the providers permission to share her medical records, preventing her from having to seek out the complicated medical information herself. After she consents, she and the entire team of specialists will access her aggregated history and clinical data to propose a treatment schedule. This platform empowers Anna and her caregivers by making the most important information clearly accessible and easy to interpret. Our product differs from other integrated personal health records on the market because we enable patient-driven communication of symptoms and feedback to multiple providers at once, regardless of hospital affiliation. Next. This is a wireframe of our app, and that shows our navigability. Next. So there is a demonstrated need to consolidate health records. By 2021, FHIR standards must be met by all EHR providers that serve the Medicare and Medicaid communities. OncoDoc would be marketed to patients as a subscription-based software as a service and based upon existing REST API guidelines for FHIR compliant interoperability. Our team would prioritize high trust certification and designate a compliance officer, showing our commitment to data integrity. Our minimum viable product would launch a proof of concept design by Q2 next year to a single medical center to assess usability and cost structure. Market presence would be maintained through exclusivity contracts with hospital systems by 2022, representing a new and sustainable revenue source. As we grow, so will the benefits that patients can reap from participating in this system. After all, we are OncoDoc. We are more than just a doctor. Next. On behalf of the team and myself, we want to thank you for listening to our presentation, and we would like to open the floor up for questions and discussion.
Thank you, guys. Any questions from our judges? Shall I go ahead?
Yes, Helen, any ideas on how would you convince the hospital systems, to use one more app since a lot of them are investing a lot on their apps?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. So we actually would propose this as a time-saving measure to hospital systems, considering that a lot of patient chart transfers are done on patient requests already. This provides that information a direct path to the patient that doesn't rely on frequently assessing the need to communicate to other providers.
Thank you.
Great, and Zara?
Great presentation, Helen. So with respect to, I think you said towards the beginning of the presentation that 50% of patients don't follow up. Can you talk a bit about how OncoDoc will help with that particular challenge?
Yeah, so we've identified two primary causes of patients being lost to follow-up, and that's kind of this data anxiety and lack of computer literacy that can be attributed to elderly patients and their caregivers having to navigate several complicated, unique medical systems just to kind of find the information that's most relevant to their condition. We hope that by creating a third-party database that's it's well structured, that alleviates some of those computer literacy concerns.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, guys. Let's see. I'm gonna go through all your site. All right. So next up, we have Janike. Apologies if I said that incorrectly. Team A050. And after that will be skin check. So once again, just pause for a second and then we can move on in a little bit.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear both of you. We'll start in just a second. Once I transition over to your title slide. Okay. You guys can take it away.
We are Janek and we aim for a cancer precision medicine here. Next. We care about the cancers that are caused due to the genetic mutations that run in the family, leading to deaths even after years of the completion of the treatment. These cause grave loss of healthy year and financial losses to the patients. Next. At Genetic, we aim to utilize artificial intelligence as a guidance to provide personalized treatment through a digital treatment platform with advanced treatment modalities while integrating multiple outcome markers. Next. Genetic module will provide a unique identification number to the patients, where the diagnostic data of the patient will be uploaded, thereby aiding the doctors to develop a personalized treatment plan that will be accessible to both the doctors as well as the patients. Additionally, there will be flexibility provided in addition and subtraction of other data, including the side effects, the change in plans, finance, and follow-ups too. Next. Algorithms in Genetic will identify genetic mutations in the patient database, thereby leading to the best possible personalized treatment plan. Next. The genome sequence from the patient will be matched across the databases to identify mutations bioinformatically. Next. The precision medicine market is expected to grow to up to $120 billion by 2026. Our platform provides an artificial intelligence algorithm to provide up-to-date cancer genomics for personalized treatment, and it is also very cost effective with an option to scale between different demographic and different types of cancers as well. The primary customers of our platform are the hospitals and the insurance providers. This will reduce the cost of their insurance per person and also reduce the cost of the long treatment of the patients due to the misdiagnosis. Next. Genetic will provide a more efficient, unique treatment plan to the patients, simultaneously minimizing the side effects and enabling doctors to tailor treatments unique to each patient. Next. This is a prototype design for Genetic. Next. And this is our team from different backgrounds. Thank you. We're happy to take all your questions.
Great, thank you guys. Any questions from our judges?
And I'll ask one if we didn't have any other. So I guess my question is, when you say hospital systems and providers are your revenue stream, like I'm just struggling a bit on how this will be operationalized. So like, are the doctors using this app? Like who's the frontline user of the app?
Well, the frontline user for the app will be the doctors, but after the treatment plan is after the personalized treatment plan is provided and developed, it will be accessible for the patients as well. So whatever the patient has to go through for the entire treatment plan, the patient will know beforehand, and they will mentally and physically and even financially be prepared for that. And if the doctor makes any changes, like if the doctor finds that there are certain side effects coming up between two chemo sessions and they need to introduce a particular medicine to counter to treat that side effects, then the doctor can add it to the module system, and the patient can know that, okay, now the patient has to take these new medications that will be necessary for these side effects, and it might delay the next chemo, or might change on any change of the plans will be directly accessible to by the patient.
Thank you.
So initially it will be the doctors. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Sarah?
I think we can move on. It was a similar question. I think Kushal asked about operationalization, and I know we are short on time. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Great. All right. We'll move. So the next team is Skin Check, team A052. After them will be emo.
Hello. So am I audible?
Yes,
hello?
we can hear you. Yeah. So I'll just pause for a little bit, and then once I move to your title slide.
All right. So
Good
okay.
to go whenever you would like to start.
Okay. So hello everyone. We are Skin Check, and this is our submission to MIT Grand App. Next. So because of COVID-19, most of us are spending even more time indoors. However, the potential for exposure to harmful ultraviolet radiation seems the same because UV radiations can penetrate the window glass. However, many patients have been canceling or postponing routine appointments such as skin exams for the last few months. While skin cancer can be highly treatable when detected early, some forms of skin cancer could put your life at risk. In this way, we developed Skin Check. Please next. So these are the types of skin cancer which we are classifying with our project. Thanks. Next. So these are sample images of our website which we have built. Next. Okay. The aim of Skin Check is to allow a faster and more accurate diagnosis of skin cancer and the disorder. Using a deep learning algorithm and a questionnaire-based assessment, it will help the dermatologist to select the most appropriate treatment for each patient. Skin Check is a web application incorporated with a deep learning model responsible for predicting the type of skin cancer or skin disorder from the images uploaded by the user. Next. So these are the technology which we have used. You can see our programming language. We have used this JavaScript and Python. The model for model development, we have used scikit-learn and TensorFlow. We have developed a REST API to fetch our model prediction. And these are the frameworks, Node.js and Bootstrap for web development. And we have used Git for version control. Next. So this is our workflow. You can see the user is uploading an image, and the patient is filling out a questionnaire. The user will then be shown a report that tells the type of skin cancer or the disorder the person is most likely to have. The prediction is made by the model and the questionnaire responses along with the score of the assessment. Based on that score, the user can decide whether they should see a doctor or not. If they decide to schedule an appointment with a doctor, then this report will supplement the diagnosis procedure performed by the skin specialist and may influence their final verdict. Next. So the tools prove to be useful even in non-pandemic context. Although skin cancer screening is one solution for early detection of skin cancer, total body examination is not usually part of the general physical examination. Because of that, some skin-related problem can go unnoticed. Next. So you can see we have mentioned some future improvements which we can make if our project got selected. And you can see we have enlisted our present competitors. Like these competitors are working on the similar aspect, but they are not doing the same kind of thing which we have done. Next.
Thank you for your, oh, there we go.
Thank you. This is our team.
Great, thank you guys. Chris, go ahead.
Great, thanks for the presentation. How would you anticipate differentiating your tool versus the others that are in development right now? I know you did mention that they're not doing the same sort of things, but could you expand on that for a second?
Yes, I would like to pass this question to my friend Kumar Abhishek. Please, Kumar.
Hello all. Actually, the thing is, this software system that we have developed is basically for regions where there are no mostly for regions where are local areas where these highly built apps and this type of technologies are not accessible. So we decided that making a local app which we will collaborate with the nearby hospitals will better impact local citizens who are not able to access, and we will our revenue model will be also based on this through in-app advertisements of the local hospitals and skincare medical products.
Cool. Any other questions? TK, I know you.
Yeah, so maybe just to expand on that, is this primarily a self-diagnosis tool for the patients? Or you talked a little bit about how this helps with the clinical decision-making of the doctor. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, I'd like to answer that. Like in present scenario, the doctors are in present scenario, the doctors have to give a certain amount of time to perform the diagnosis procedure so that they can know the type of skin cancer the person is actually having. So to fasten that process, we have used a deep learning model that will basically classify the patch of skin, the suspicious patch of skin, into the present discovered 7 classes of skin cancer. Okay.
Awesome. So thank you, Skin Check. We next have email, team A015. Once again, we'll pause for a little bit.
Can you hear me from IMO?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. Tell me when they're done.
Yep. All right. Whenever you guys are ready.
Hello, we're IMO. Next slide, please. So kids only want to do something if it's fun. I'm sure many of you here can relate, but they don't eat their vegetables, they don't like homework, and they constantly resist anything else they don't like. Long hours at a chemotherapy clinic, not fun, and that's a problem. Each year, 40,000 children are treated with cancer or for cancer in the United States. The lifetime cost of childhood cancer is just under $1 million, and treatment non-compliance rates are estimated as high as 50%. Children who have been diagnosed with cancer simply lack the emotional maturity to stick to a long-term treatment plan. However, adherence to that plan is a critical element of the plan. Not following a treatment plan delays healing, necessitates more doctor visits, and increases the risk of infection, treatment failure, and relapse. Missteps can waste hundreds of millions of dollars per year paid out for ineffective treatment courses. Next slide, please. The solution is IMMO, the immunotherapy game. When it comes to health management, gamification is a proven way to help keep people on track. We turn a personalized health plan into fun and engaging experience for children, which will guide them through their healing journey. IMMO is a location-based game which ties together a child's treatment schedule, healthy actions such as diet and exercise, and their emotional well-being into one fun adventure. Next slide, please. We can take a look now. We have Juan, who's just been diagnosed with leukemia. He opens up the app on his phone and is asked to check in. For answering, he gets points. Juan will also get points for other actions, such as taking medication, exercising, or just talking to his parents about how he feels that day. Next slide, please. We then come to Juan's treatment atlas. We have geotagged Juan's actual doctor's office, hospital, and treatment centers. These normally scary places are transformed to be fun and exciting. When Juan visits these locations, he unlocks bonus games, prizes, and tokens, all presented in immersive augmented reality. Juan is now the T-cell defender, attacking the bad cells and invaders and defending his health. Next slide, please. But IMMO is not just a fun game for kids. It offers an important opportunity for organizations looking for patient-centric ways to improve healthcare and save money. IMMO increases patient engagement. By keeping kids on track, we reduce both insurance claims and the total cost of treatment. Similar gamification apps targeting diabetic patients have streamlined treatment plans and simplified care, resulting in cost savings and eventual acquisition by large healthcare companies. Next slide, please. IMMO generates valuable treatment data to track and improve treatment efficacy. This in turn represents multi-million-dollar savings to our targeted customer, insurance companies and healthcare providers. And that's just for cancer. IMMO is easily extended to guide children through other long-term health plans, such as dealing with severe injury, transplant, or even autism. IMMO is unlike anything currently on the market. Whereas others gamify a cookie-cutter treatment experience, we create a unique and highly personalized world based on each child's cancer treatment journey to promote successful treatment and long-term health. Next slide, please. This is our team. We have a broad skill set, all mostly technical. We do have a UI, UX designer, industrial designer, and that is it. Any questions, please?
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Sarah, go ahead.
Thanks, Ethan. Great presentation. So I was surprised to see the 50% non-adherence, given the fact that you're talking about pediatric cancer. I would have expected that number to be low, but can you talk about how even this unique gamification, which is different from others, will help improve non-adherence in kids with cancer?
So the current market sort of has gamification in terms of a generic cancer experience being turned into a game. So kids might understand what chemotherapy does, but being kids, the average age of diagnosis for childhood cancer is actually around 6 years old. There's a disconnect, right, emotionally between what they want to do in the moment and what they need to do to live the next 80 years of their life. So we, instead of doing a generic treatment experience of playing the game, have the parent input these actual locations. So the kid goes there and it's a totally location-aware game that brings them into their treatment experience, explains what's happening, and gives them a game to play while they're having chemo, while they're waiting for the doctor, tests, whatever. Sort of investing them inadvertently into adhering to their treatment goals. And again, this goes for things like exercise is a commonly recommended thing for kids. Just even eating healthy, things that should be done for effective treatment.
Awesome, thank you. Chris?
Great, thanks. Really quickly, you mentioned that this is personalized to each patient. Just maybe a very brief explanation on how you plan to do that, and then what was your target age group that you're targeting here? Thanks.
So target age group is around 6 to 16. We had a lot of discussions about where gamification really plays the best. We all sort of decided gamification for adults was maybe helpful, but not the biggest gains. For little kids who were going to play these games anyway, huge gains. That's the age group. As for personalizing, there is a parent companion app. So the parent will be saying like, little Juan has chemotherapy Sunday, October 17th at 3 p.m. in location X. So Juan will be able to see it on his app. The parent put it in, and now Juan knows he has to go there. He knows that when they're driving there, he'll have a fun experience there, even if there is the obvious downside of having chemotherapy.
Awesome, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right. So next up we have Analysis Tech, Team A023. And we will get started in just a second. All right, take it.
Hey all, we are team Analysis Tech. We are team 023 from track A, Customized Cancer Care. We are excited to introduce our team Analysis Tech. Next slide. So we have a case report like Rose is a 30-year-old woman who has just found out she has lung cancer. She's confused and frustrated, like she has no family history of cancer. She wants to understand her illness. She has no idea what her cancer is about. So she's kind of frustrated and scared and wants to understand her illness more. Next slide. So just like Rose, there are 65% of the cancer patients like they have the same mentality as Rose. They are scared and worried about their problems. They don't have awareness, and the initial cancer diagnosis brings them more negativity and anxiety among the patients. They have no awareness about what are the treatment strategies available for the cancer they are diagnosed with. So this develops frustration and anxiety. After the frustration and anxiety is developed, this leads to poor prognosis of the disease. So current solutions don't help actually understand their own anatomic buildup and compliance. So next slide. This is our solution. We have come up with a solution of an educational and a motivational tool that will simulate the normal anatomic makeup of the patient on the virtual personalized software. So using this virtual personalized software, we'll be able to provide a customized and personalized holistic treatment and explain why and how, what is what. So this will be a tool for education, motivation, and to empower the patients. So next slide. So how it works? This is how it works. Like we have a software and an app. So the software is provided for the hospital by the tech team. So they develop an app for each patient. So there's an app for each patient. So it is a very personalized way. So how this app works is there's a welcome page, and there's two tabs like motivation and education. So there are two aspects. In the education videos, we have the simulation of the anatomic makeup. For example, if Rose is diagnosed with lung cancer, we simulate the same anatomic makeup of Rose. Like we measure Rose's anatomic makeup with measuring tools available, even large scale tools like CAD/CAM, like on a large scale. So we feed the anatomic data into the software. So this produces an anatomic virtual model of the patient's tumor. Next slide. Yeah. So after this is the user journey of Rose after she has been diagnosed with cancer. Like how is she going to use this solution to bring out her positive treatment outcome? So we actually diagnose. After this diagnosis data is fed into the computer software, which will develop to the simulation of the anatomy. So this diagnosis will be explained in detail in a video also. So we'll be making videos about the cancer and educational. So then the personalized treatment plan will be explained along with the
Sorry, that's 3 minutes. So we'll have to move to your final slide. I'll leave it up there for you guys. Are there any questions from the judges?
So can I explain to the business model alone?
Unfortunately, no. We do cut you off at 3 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry about that. All right, TK, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question on the competitive landscape and what other tools are available currently, and how this would differ from what's available.
Actually, currently, my teammates are answering this question.
Yeah, so for the competitive landscape, when we talk about, so we studied all the apps that are available on the Play Store, and we realized that there's no app that is trying to explain to the patient in layman language what exactly is going on, like after the diagnosis, to explain the illness in detail, because the patients are really anxious that because they do not know any of the medical terms and any other details about their own treatment plan.
Also, I'd like to add that there are some very popular apps like CareZone, CancerNet and all, but either it's too scientific or it's just a social media app. It's not a holistic binding of the both. So our app focuses on catering on all these aspects.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Our next team is Circle, team A032. And after that will be Purple Ribbon. Let's just give it a little bit and then we'll get started in a moment.
Sure, just let me know when.
Yep. All right, go ahead.
Imagine you are in your office one day and you suddenly feel sick. You go to the ER and do some tests, and the doctors tell you that you have stage 3 cancer. Bam, your life changes. You don't know what to do and you are completely in the dark. Next. At some point in their lives, 39.5% of Americans will have an experience similar to this. On top of their diagnosis, these patients must also face the issue of finding an ideal healthcare provider and determining a customized course of treatment, often in a relatively short time frame. Next, please. Although there have been tremendous developments in treatment options for cancer, what has been overlooked is the decision-making process from a patient's perspective. Currently, patients have to go to many different websites to find answers, and often are not aware that options exist at all. On this slide, we identified 5 key problems that are faced by cancer patients that our solution aims to tackle. Next, please. This is where Circle comes in. Circle is an accessible, user-friendly, all-in-one information sharing hub that compiles different types of information that patients might need in order to find a healthcare provider and work on a course of treatment that fits their unique needs. Next, please. The key features of our platform are solutions to each one of the 5 problems that we identified previously. Patients will be able to see straightforward comparisons of treatment and insurance plan options, find healthcare providers who can render a second opinion, look up clinical trials that they might enroll in, and leave and read reviews from other patients on their experience with each healthcare provider. Next, please. In the next 3 slides, we have some examples of what we envision the app and website to look like. The platform will allow for custom searches for healthcare providers. Next. As well as options for clinical trials and treatment plans. Next. We will also have a mobile app version. Next, please. We designed this platform for specifically cancer patients who want to be more involved in the decision-making process. At the same time, it can also be a valuable resource for family members of cancer patients, healthcare professionals, and those who are seeking cancer education. Next. We calculated the total addressable market to $7.6 billion. Because we're more likely to service those within the US, the serviceable available market is $1.1 billion. Lastly, we will aim to obtain a market with approximately $55 million in value. Next. We identified our main competitors, and as seen on the slide, our solution is superior to any other platforms. Next. On this slide, we display 4 key points that set Circle apart from existing products on the market. Next. We plan to provide a free membership for patients and with subscription-based add-ons. Payers will be users, pharmaceutical companies, and insurance providers. Next, please. Here are our plans for the future of this product. Next. This is our multidisciplinary team, including 3 high school students. Next. Here we have a link to a demo of our project and our contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Kushal, go ahead.
A really cool concept. I guess one question is, in the airline industry, everyone's open about their pricing and you can compare and contrast. Like in the healthcare system, it's a bit complicated, right? So how would you think about pulling these like cost of treatment data onto your app? How would that work?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know about healthcare.gov, but basically that's also a governmental platform that right now offers different kinds of payment options that consumers can just go on and look at the different payment options. So we were envisioning something similar to that. So obviously it wouldn't be super exact in terms of the details, but we will be able to provide a very basic rough sketch of what the payment options would be and how much it would cost them in the long term.
Thank you, Chloe. I'm just saying, great idea. Just need some research on that end because it's a lot of back and forth between the hospital and the payers on this front. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
And Saurabh?
I think let's go to Chris for his question, and then I just had one statement which I can make if we have time.
Okay. Chris, did you still have a question?
No, I actually had the same one that Kushal asked, so thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the same question as well. I mean, I just wanted to, I guess, applaud the team for, you said you have high school children. I think this is incredible. I mean, the presentation was really good. So thank you so much for your time. And I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we also have a link to a working prototype if you guys have a chance to look at that. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys. So the next team up is Purple Ribbon, Team A008. The team after that will be EDFE.
Can I start now?
We'll give it about a minute just to make sure that the judges are able to get in their scores from the last team.
Great.
All right, you guys can get started whenever you'd like to.
Hi, good morning, afternoon, and evening. Next, I'd like to start off this presentation with an anecdote. I was working in the emergency room as a radiologist. And one night in 2014, I encountered a patient with shortness of breath, losing hair, losing weight, losing fingernails, with abdominal pain and swelling and pain. Pretty much, I was suspicious for cancer. Next. The thing is, this is not any patient, this is my mom. And the thing is, she's not in my emergency room. She was about 5.5 away in Pennsylvania. She lives alone in that place. And along with her is my sister and myself are the primary caregiver for her. She's non-English speaking and also not medically savvy. So in trying to arrange all the, we have to call between the two of us, calling, arranging, making appointments, and scheduling travels when she's being treated in New York City took a substantial amount of time and effort, both on her part as well as my sister and my part. This results also in not being communicate effectively or in timely fashion with the healthcare team. Next slide. And so in my experience, we try to formulate a more defined problem, which is that scheduling and communication are particularly challenging for many cancer patients and their caregivers who really need to interact with multiple medical teams. Next. So our solution is to develop a patient-focused app that really helps them to make appointments, really optimize to what the patient's preference are, as well as being able to communicate with the healthcare team on demand. In some way, I see this more like a patient-specific scheduling problem. Next. And we are going to use an app for the next. First thing we do is in our concept is that for patient are able to identify the physicians they want based on the recommendation, distance, and also for ratings. Furthermore, there's a filters including language, travel radius, as well as capability for telehealth. Next. Following that, patient were able to make appointments by choosing a subspecialty and a set of oncologists, radiologists, and other healthcare teams together. Next. And this part is where the patient can then identify the set of time they prefer that they want it to be and set the appointments, and then send that information to the oncology office of the respective offices, where the offices then go and try to match the time and then send back a confirmation time. This way, the idea being that there is no need to spend hours and minutes on the phone, and that really is shift to prioritize patients' time preferences, and there's telehealth physical appointments as well. Next. And then there's also a patient to reach a physician through the scheduling system as well. Next. And our business model is that this will be coming in the form of a grant or a self-funded project, eventually hoping that this will be acquired as a system in the and by small hospital and government. Next. And then there is a distinguishing feature is that this is for patient experience, not just for hospital efficiency, and it's low cost and it can be used for other smaller systems. Next. And there are other future growth that was including the expansion to a healthcare management tool. Next. Thank you. And this is my group comprising of both undergraduate medical students and pharmaceutical experts. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the judges? All right.
That's great. I just want to thank my team for putting this together. Great job, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, so the next team coming up is EDFE, and then that's team A030, and after that will be my capital Saleo.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Just give it a few more seconds and then we'll be able to go ahead. Okay, you guys can start whenever.
Hello, everybody. We're EDFE, Early Diagnosis for Everybody. Next slide, please. So let's start with the story of Sai. Sai is 40 years old. She's an educator in rural area in India, and she was diagnosed with stage 3 of breast cancer. Being stage 3, her probability of getting an effective treatment is low. Next slide, please. Like Sai, 70% of cancer patients in developing countries are diagnosed at late stages, and around 5.5 million people die each year. Next slide, please. So the causes of late diagnosis of cancer: lack of diagnostic facilities locally, financial constraints, and the ones we're focusing on is lack of screening programs and lack of awareness. Next slide, please. So our solution to this problem is an integrated app designed to be used during waiting time and prevention campaigns. We cover 3 fundamental aspects, which are cancer risk assessment, awareness and education, and patient follow-up. Next slide, please. So through risk assessment, we can determine the risk category and provide basic information based on that risk assessment and recommend healthcare facilities, which would be customized to every patient. Next slide, please. So our business plan. The clients we're targeting are clinics, hospital, and public healthcare.
Our launch strategy is advertisement in healthcare websites and magazines, cancer care campaign, and a 30-day free trial. Our revenue strategy would be a monthly membership. Next slide, please. So the market we're focusing on is the Indian market because a lot of cases are diagnosed per year and a lot of money is spent. And our market goal for the first year of app would be to reach around 300 Indian healthcare centers with a monthly subscription. Next slide, please. So the functionality of our app. What our app does is it connects the patient interface with the healthcare provider interface via cloud infrastructure to provide these functions, which is education, awareness, cancer, the ones we discussed earlier. Next slide, please. So how our app is different from other apps available in the market is that we provide tracking patient data and follow-up. And we also increase the level of awareness and assessment in patients. Next slide, please. So this is a diverse team which consists of Kalaumari, Timina, and me. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Are there any questions from the judges? Chris, you can go ahead.
Great. Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Just to make sure I'm following. So if the challenge is low awareness and late diagnosis, how do you envision this tool helping to overcome that?
I would like to pass the question to Timina. Timina?
Well, the idea with the app is to take advantage of the waiting time that many patients have when they go to a normal consultation in the clinic. And then during this time, the patients can complete the survey, the risk assessment, and then they also can learn about and get some awareness of the cancer disease. So it's taking advantage of that and implementing in the first line clinics. It could help to identify a population that is at high risk of developing cancer or that has some symptoms, and then they can be targeted to the specific physicians in order to provide an earlier diagnosis.
All right, great, thank you guys. So our next team is My Capital Soleil, team A044. So just raise your hands for whoever is going to be presenting, and we'll take a few seconds and then move on to your presentation. And then after that, we have our final presentation, Carrie. So we're nearing the end. Okay, and you guys can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Dominique Flores, and I'm here to present to you My Capital Soleil, so you can figure out how to get your safe daily dose of sunshine. Current statistics show that skin cancer is the most common type of cancer in the US, where 1 in 5 Americans will develop melanoma and 2 deaths occur every hour. However, 90% is caused by UV exposure, which is considered highly preventable. So what's the problem? Nobody knows how UV exposure relates to their individual risk of skin cancer. And we're told we should act, but we have yet to figure out how to do it more safely. Current products on the market are made by beauty companies recommending their own sunscreen products, only focusing on daily exposure and sunscreen application without assessing your long-term personal risks. With our personalized preventive care model, we assess initial risk, which sets us apart from our competitors and provides us with unique insight about our members' risk factors. record daily exposure and activity under the sun, and then use those insights to make personal recommendations on preventive measures. Make sure that you're not eating at your capital solid, your sun quota. Following up with scheduling appointments and checkups with a dermatologist before it's too late. Then we'll regularly recalibrate our models with reassessing. Our risk assessment includes 4 categories: genetics and profile survey, activities, geographical location, and protective habits. Along with the genetic testing evaluating a small panel of genes costing only $20 to $30 and preventive care plans, we include a wearable skin patch that measures the end user's SED or UV exposure that provides real-time insights all on an app.
An initial stakeholders analysis shows that our members are people who want to take control of their health or their kids. Healthcare providers, such as HMOs, who turn to preventative care to minimize treatment costs, and a range of other partners that I'll describe next. With a freemium business model, all users can access slightly customized health information free of charge. Our premium members will get the UV sensing patch and genetic testing for fully personalized insights, hopefully soon to be covered by insurers after an initial pilot study to show our effectiveness. Our unique dataset could also be shared with pharmaceutical companies to help develop the next generation cancer treatments. Our market entry consists of targeting high-risk individuals, such as people with genetic predispositions, living in high-risk environments, or with high-risk occupations. And finally, kids, for who sun exposure leads to long-term and severe consequences. Our scaling will be facilitated by our cloud infrastructure and global contract manufacturers. Next, please. We're a diverse team that believes preventive care is the future of medicine. So please join us at My Capital Soleil to keep your future sunny and bright while preventing skin cancer. Thank you, and we're welcoming your questions.
Thank you, guys. Any questions? Go ahead, Kushal.
You guys think about like consolidating the variables with something else? I just feel soon, we'll run out of real estate on our body. Any thoughts on where this could be kind of combined with?
Yeah, I take this question. So I think our patch could present like several advantages that nothing else present today. Because like it's kind of like, the goal is to really integrate it like smoothly on the skin, kind of like wherever you want, depending on your exposure. And also we could like, the patch could also show like how much sunscreen is effective by like, just putting sunscreen on the patch, like you're putting on the rest of your body and like showing how effective that is. But eventually, indeed, depending on the market fluctuations, integrating with like bigger players who like integrate those kind of technologies could be like an option.
Thank you, Pierre.
Awesome. Chris?
Great, great presentation. I mean, given that we now realize that many of the skin cancers we identified today can date back to severe burns, in childhood, what's your plan to address sort of a younger population?
You want to take that, or should I go? I can go. So basically, like in our, sorry, are you here?
You can go ahead. Yep.
Okay. So in our risk assessments, we do this genetic profiling, which in the most advanced premium tier could compare any somatic mutations you would have since your kind of base genome, your inherited genomes from your parents, and from there we hope to compute kind of how far evolved already in your sun quota and your capital soleil you are, meaning how many burns did you have when you were a kid, and based on that we would be hopefully able to assess, respond to your question. Does that make sense?
Cool.
It did, thanks.
Sorry, and TK?
Yes, so it was similar along those lines. Is this intended to be used to research patients? Or what's the intended length of time that you expect a target patient to be wearing the patch?
This is an excellent question, thanks. I think that that really depends on the situation. The goal for would potentially be able to monitor that continuously throughout your life, But obviously, like a premium model that's like paying every month for that all your life, like doesn't necessarily make sense. So that would be firstly targeting, like the premium advanced model would be targeting like high risk individuals, such as children during the vacation, for example, or people who have a history of melanoma and are already like at risk, and other like populations I've identified before.
Okay, great. So unfortunately, that is the end of our Q&A session for this team. Thank you, guys. Well, oh, sorry. And so we are on to our last team of the final presentations, Carrie, team A016. Once again, we will pause for just a second and then I will switch over to your presentation shortly. All right, take it away.
Okay, next. I am a physician at Brigham and Women's Hospital. Last week, I saw a 92-year-old female diagnosed with colon cancer. She was told that surgery will be curative, so she agreed to have the procedure. But a day later, her nephrologist explained that by having surgery, she was most likely going to develop end-stage renal disease requiring dialysis. My patient then changed her mind and said that absolutely not to surgery, as she prioritized quality of life instead of having to live with dialysis. She and her family opted to have palliative radiation instead. This is just one of many similar cases I see. Without ongoing conversations about goals of care and quality of life, a patient may end up with a treatment that doesn't fit their unique preferences. Unfortunately, 30% of the time, goals of care discussions don't happen. And when they do happen, it is usually during end-of-life care. There is no standardized way to approach these conversations, and that is why physicians avoid them. We don't continue to discuss a patient experience throughout the course of the disease or capture their day-to-day symptoms as they pursue treatment. Next.
Recently, advancements in deep learning and natural language processing have made conversational AI a reality. Today, nearly 1 billion people converse with voice assistants such as Amazon's Alexa. Carrie is our conversational assistant that empowers cancer patients while standardizing the reporting of goals of care and quality of life preferences for the healthcare provider. Next. Carrie proactively engages the patient throughout the entirety of their treatment, recording and reporting qualitative and quantitative data such as compliance to treatment, mood, sleep, appetite, pain, nausea, and other symptoms. Next. Carrie lowers healthcare costs by supporting patient adherence to treatment, which reduces ER and ICU admissions, as well as earlier hospice enrollment. Additionally, Carrie provides real-world evidence that can be a factor in showing the efficiency of a new treatment. With Carrie, patients receive more personalized care experience, improved shared decision-making with their healthcare provider, and results in greater patient satisfaction and improved outcomes. Next. Carrie outperforms the other products on the market. Next.
Our implementation strategy follows a three-phase approach. In the first phase, our pre-incubation period, we will further develop our solution, conducting the necessary R&D as well as stakeholder engagements. The second phase is the incubation period, where we aim to validate our solution for commercial use. In phase 3, we go to market by leveraging off our partnerships, marketing, and sales strategies. Next. In terms of our business models, we are looking at developing relationships and establishing partnerships with key stakeholders. These could potentially include, but are not limited to, insurance companies, civil society organizations, developmental agencies, nonprofits, and pharmaceutical companies. We hope to get going by securing funding through sponsorship opportunities and grant opportunities through developmental, small business, and innovation grants. We will then implement a revenue subscription-based model whereby for a monthly fee, insurance companies may allow their patients and healthcare providers access to carry. Next. Thank you. We'll take your questions now.
Thank you, guys. Any questions from the judges? Go ahead, Sarah.
Thanks, guys. Have you looked at patient-reported outcomes and the capabilities that companies have, and what exactly is the differentiator here with Carry compared to what people already have or the existing solutions? Like, what's unique about the solution compared to what we already have in the market?
Brendan, do you want to, or you want me to go? Or
I would say what's unique about it is that we'll probably be one of the first people deploying conversational AI to proactively engage the patient on a regular basis and query them for information that can be, reported on back to the physician.
Yeah, there's no app that does this in cancer patients, conversational AI, and there's no app that addresses goals of care discussions on patient preference, patient life. They do monitor side effects and things like that. No app in the market have these difficult conversations with the patients.
Just a follow-up on that. So what's the AI component of the app, right? So if I'm someone who has a certain type of cancer, how is the software getting the information to engage me in a conversation that gives me the insights that I need? Because the subject is one, both emotional, and two, also scientific, right? So where are you getting the data from to feed into the application?
Yeah, so we'd be looking to put together like clinically validated questions that are address a particular type of treatment. So the dialogue flow can be designed from the provider. Like, for instance, if you worked with a particular pharmaceutical company for a particular treatment, you could design a dialogue flow to extract certain types of information that you would want for that type of treatment.
And I think there are standardized ways of approach. We want to get also patient's preference. This is patient-centered, so we want to know what the patient's preferences are, which is conversations that usually they don't have with physicians, and physicians don't ask about things. So physicians can get a report and say, okay, my patient prioritizes these things in life, then I can offer this treatment. So it's more the patient inputting data first and say, this is what I want for my life and my treatment.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to all of our teams that have presented today. Give all of yourselves a round of applause.